Hello and welcome. My name's Margie Esteville, and I will be host for this TLC session. We're excited that you've joined us to hear how do students, faculty, and programs benefit from student organizations. Please welcome Lisa Johnson.
Hi, Margie, and thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here in attendance. So I am Lisa Johnson, and I am your main host or moderator, as it were, for this session. Today's panel, how do students, faculty, and programs benefit from online student organizations? The co-host that I have today, rather than have us go through and have everyone do a lengthy introduction, what we'll do instead is save some time by just scanning over a few of the slides and showing everyone's images. But first, I'd like us to take a look at some of the tips for using Zoom, just real quickly for those of you that may be unaware. Down in the lower left, you have a microphone and video settings area of your screen, you should at least. And then also you may need to click the three dots to open the chat and the attendees, but make sure you're viewing at least the chat. And note that you can hover over the space between the presentation and the chat and drag that. If you click and drag, you can make the chat a lot bigger, and that may suit you better as we move into the discussion portion. And then up at the top, you'll notice that you have some options, like right now you can view my big face on video, or you can view the slides. You can toggle between the presentation and the speaker. And then later when we turn off the slides, you have the opportunity to go between the speaker view, whoever's mic is the loudest basically, or seeing a gallery view, which will be a lot of different thumbnails. And I highly recommend you use that thumbnail opportunity because it makes things feel a bit more community and discussion driven. Okay, so here you can see our full-time faculty and staff that are co-presenters with me today. You have myself, Mr. Ben Gothia, who is our fearless leader of student organizations and student engagement specialist and just all things clubs. We also have the amazing Bill Davis from the Forbes School of Business and Technology with us, and his colleague, Dr. Ronald Beach. They are both the faculty advisors for the Forbes School of Business and Technology Business Management Marketing Club, rather, and I am for the Instructional Design at Ashford Club. And with us today, our esteemed co-hosts are our student officers. Destiney Baxter couldn't be here with us live, but she is an alumni officer, a special role that we created just for her as a former executive officer. We also have Lynn Haines, and we have Lynn Hagerdorn joining us both from IDA, or the Instructional Design at Ashford group. And then we also have Jamie King, who is the elected president of the Forbes School of Business Technology Marketing Club, Management Club, Business. I don't know why I keep saying marketing. I think Bill and I have been talking about marketing too much lately. At any rate, welcome to all of you, and thank you for being here. So we presume that you came here based on the session description. And here's what we're going to cover. We're going to start with a round-robin style discussion of the three areas of club benefits that have been identified in the literature by us so far. And I'll turn off the slides after each question, and then we'll hear from our student officers, Lane, Jamie, and Lynn. And then Dr. Beach, Bill, and Ben can come in and wrap up things. And that's sort of how this panel is going to work today. We welcome you sharing about your experiences in the chat, especially keeping in mind that this session is recorded. We'll do our very best to address any questions you ask during the session and at the end. We only have 30 minutes though, so anything we fail to address, apologies in advance. We'll do our best to follow up with you if you signed in with your full name, or if you'd like to place your email or send that to one of the hosts privately, that's certainly fine. We'll also have our emails at the end of the session if you'd like to see those. All right, without much further ado, let's move on to our first question. So you can see what our Alumni Executive Officer, Destiney Baxter, had to say about this topic on the screen, the quote there. And this is one item of research in the area that's cited as well. There are several things that talk about promoting equity, diversity, and inclusion. And those are really big sounding words and kind of ethereal concepts, I realize. But keep in mind that every one of the speakers today has defined that personally for themselves. And so let's hear now from our student officers about their club experiences and how they have promoted the equity, diversity, and inclusion for them. And again, please feel free to share your experiences in the chat as well. Lane?
So, yeah, Dr. J, I'll go first. Thank you. I'm a veteran adult student here at Ashford University. And what I've really appreciated is how the Instructional Design at Ashford student organization has allowed me to express where I come from, a structured and very disciplined mindset, and how that fits both for instructional design and the development of people that I have the responsibility for. I've appreciated the exposure of how it all works together with people from different backgrounds and disciplines. And I've had mentorship conversations both within the faculty and even our peers within the students. And that's really where that diversity and inclusion has worked well for me.
For me, as the president of the FSBT Business Management Club and mentor for the Ashford University Peer Mentoring Program, I am learning and connecting with my peers. To me, participating in AU clubs helps me feel connected to the university, and feeling connected motivates me and makes me a better student. There is a lot of diversity within the groups here at Ashford, which gives me multiple perspectives and helps me grow professionally and personally.
Thanks, Jamie. For me, being a part of the IDA Corps and IDA group has really helped me to be able to learn and to be able to see other people's perspectives from around the world. I mean, we have global members that are part of the IDA group, and being able to, I'm an instructional designer, so being able to hear how people learn in one country, how I can pull that back and bring it into the instructional design that I'm currently doing, it's really helped me to really get out of my comfort zone and to be cognizant of just developing instruction overall.
Thanks to each of you. Bill or Ron or Ben, do you have anything you'd like to add? Maybe Ben, from your bird's eye perspective of all clubs, diversity, inclusion?
Equity is a big thing that I pay attention to, and I want to make sure that all club officers are aware. I've put this in the chat, but I'm saying whenever something that they feel is unfair is happening in their club, they always have great resources in the club advisors and myself to come to. We are impartial, we listen to all sides, and we help student clubs come to, hopefully, an agreeable conclusion to any kind of issue that arises during, the regular play of their club.
Thank you for that. I was trying to type thank you for your contributions, and apparently you heard me clicking the whole time. So at any rate, all right, well, thank you for sharing those perspectives. I guess the bigger point is that in the literature, we are seeing proof that ground clubs, in particular campus-based clubs, do offer these opportunities. And so one of the things we're very interested in at Ashford is how do the online communities foster these things. And I think without a doubt, has been emphasized there from, again, the sort of global perspective of clubs, is that they afford the opportunity for people to interact. And that certainly opens up doors of opportunity for these big bucket items to happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean they will. So much of that is about leadership. And with leadership in mind, I'd like to move on to our next topic, which is about the experiential learning. Now, I'm going to pull up some notes here so I make sure and don't veer too far off course, because I get very excited talking about this topic. You can see here again what Destiney, our alumni officer with IDA, had to say about the topic. I'll give you a second to sort of read that. And as you do, think about experiences that you've had and what you've learned from those and the reflections you've had. So experiential learning, for those of you that are uninitiated, is essentially a body of theory that focuses on how learning takes place. And there's a lot of theories in this area. And this one's pretty much obvious. It has to do with hands-on learning, learning by doing, but also reflection on those experiences. And anyone here who might be familiar with Kolb's research, KOLB, Kolb did a lot of research on experiential learning. Now, he's often associated with learning styles, but beyond that, the experiential learning body of theory that he developed really centered on the motivation of the learner and the learner having to be a willing participant in the experience. Otherwise, it could be quite torturous. It's enjoyable if you want to be a part of it, and enjoyed learning is typically lasting learning. And so that's where all this falls in. Now, what does this have to do with clubs? Each of our officers speaking today, and advisors, and Ben, as our fearless leader of all student organizations, has chosen to participate in their roles. And presumably everyone who's a member is doing so willingly, because we don't have any mandatory club membership at this time. And so that said, think about the fact that each of these officers you're about to hear from chose not only to join their clubs, but to step forward and lead in their clubs in various capacities. And so with that, Lane, if you wouldn't mind starting us off again.
You bet, Dr. J. And it's so good that you teed me up for this one here. So I've been in leadership positions since 2004, once I got out of the military service. Within that, I've been involved in things like onboarding and continued education and growth and development of the people that I serve. But I've never been able to piece it together until getting involved with the Instructional Design at Ashford Club. It allowed me to better understand and see how it's the backbone for developing that most important capital in business, which is our people, right? Those interactions that I've had have been able to bring real insight to my professional circles, allowed me to influence my peers, and then again, take better care of those that are in my charge.
Thanks, Lane. As the president of FSBT Business Management Club, I am developing strong leadership skills, managerial skills. My communication skills are improving through the weekly meetings that we have, organizing our club and team meetings. I'm learning to develop a strategic plan right now, and that is going to help me in my future in my planned career field. As a mentor for the CHAMPS program, I have the opportunity to work with students and help them to be successful. And that really is going to make me a better leader in the future as well.
So true, Jamie. I think with IDA, one of the things that I have really appreciated is the fact that we use LinkedIn as our primary communication tool. Just being able to, the social media experience, not only for business, but for academia and other areas, it's just amazing. There's, again, like I said before, there's a lot of global members that we actually have. And it's interesting to see that instructional designers in particular have certain areas of interest. And when we use LinkedIn, we share a lot of different webinars, white papers, articles, etc. And in doing that, encouraging conversation about what's being shared, and it really opens up a lot of different ideas that go well beyond the actual online classroom as well.
That is an excellent point. Now, we did have a couple of comments made in the chat from Dr. Beach. Marjorie asked, thank you, Marjorie, for asking a really interesting question. I've answered that, hopefully, to your satisfaction. I think Ben is going to cover a little bit more about how many clubs we have, and this really is growing, and we'll talk a bit more about what that's led to for community and experiential learning for the advisors as well in just a moment. So we have a few other folks here in the audience, and we are doing pretty well for our time. If anyone would like to come on, we have one more question to cover, and then we're going to segue into the resources and how to access information about clubs. But please do feel free to post those questions in the chat for us. And sharing again, thank you again for that, officers. You are amazing, and I'm so proud. I can speak specifically to my IDA officers who I've had the great opportunity to watch grow as leaders themselves, and you've taught me a few things as well, and I appreciate that. All right, so moving into our final question, how are Ashford University online clubs connecting students across a broad range of disciplines and career areas? All right, so this last question, like the previous ones, has a quote from Destiney, who is working today and couldn't manage to be here with us live. But again, she was able to move into an alumni officer role because her leadership had been so significant to the club's existence. And we had this fluid ability to keep her on. Now Destiney comes from early childhood background. But we also have club officers from business. We have officers working in educational technology. Everyone, though, has an interest in the instructional design group and instructional design. It is that tie that binds us. All of us have that common interest, as it were. And so this one's a bit obvious, except for you may not realize how many clubs are actually aligned to specific programs here just at Ashford. And that's pretty normal, I think, on campuses as well, ground place-based campuses. But we do have a few organizations like IDA and like the Business Management Club that are open to membership across the entire university, bringing students together across degree levels, graduate, undergraduate, and from different programs, even within the colleges, breaking down those silos. So it's a pretty exciting opportunity for me as an advisor to be a part of that connectivity. And that said, I think that what we will do now is go on and move into Lane, Jamie, and Lynn speaking again to their experiences. And Dr. Beach, I would invite you to come on and share live if you would like, because we will have, I think, plenty of time for the review of our final segments. So, Lane?
Thanks, Dr. J. You bet. So as you had mentioned, I'm actually a bachelor's in business leadership student. My discipline is there because it feeds exactly what I'm looking to do professionally. But a part of that is being involved in the learning development curriculum and the criteria within there. So being a part of the IDA Student Club allowed me to enrich the understanding I have of how I can better lead people and help them grow in their careers. I've been able to connect with other adult students. Lynn is a great example. We've collaborated a few different times on projects that we've worked through, and how the roles of ID bridges the two together. Recently, even, I was promoted to be a manager of learning and development within my organization. So now I am able to take what I've learned, what I've seen, and what I've experienced back to my team that we've just doubled, as well as to our customers. Both of these moves couldn't have been done. I couldn't have been successful without having the resources that the club's brought to me. Jamie?
Thanks, Lane. I am a BA student attending Ashford University's Honors College program. I plan to work in organizational development in the future. Being part of the FSBT Business Management Club allows me to learn from experienced individuals in various career fields, as well as my chosen career field. Because of FSBT Business Management Club, I am networking, connecting with people from different areas with different backgrounds. I am learning from their ideas, growing from their experience. For me, being part of the AU clubs goes beyond education and provides learning avenues for me outside of the classroom. And I feel like my involvement in this club is really going to help me step into success when I get out into the business world, because I'm getting actual experience. I'm learning from wonderful people. And thank you guys for letting me speak today.
Thanks, Jamie. It's interesting when you think about instructional design, typically what you think about right away is academia. I mean, you know, elementary school, high school, even college and higher education. Actually, I'm a learning consultant and an instructional designer in the corporate training world. So there's somewhat similarities, but there's also differences in both of the worlds. And one of the things that I appreciate so much about the clubs is the fact that we all embrace all those differences, no matter what backgrounds we come from. A lot of my people that are in my classes are all teachers. I'm not typically a teacher. Yes, I classify myself as an educator. I was a senior trainer for years, but you know, to sit down with a group of kids, I probably couldn't do that. I'm more adult hands-on. But it's interesting because I'm a graduate student in the MALT program and I have one more class to finish, and I kept contemplating, what can I actually use this for? And Dr. J, I'm going a little bit off of what you and I talked about, but this just thought about this. Last week, I was in a job interview for a new position, and I kept thinking, you know, what's this degree going to help me with? One of the questions in the interview was, if you had to design a perfect virtual course, not just a course, but a virtual classroom and everything, how would you do it? And it's like, there's my big light bulb moment. That's what this entire program was for, from start to finish. You know, through being able to exchange ideas and with, you know, people such as Jamie and Lane and the other officers that we've had within our own group. It's interesting how you can mesh the two between the world of academics and the corporate training world. So I really appreciate that. And it's given me an opportunity to really explore some new options that, you know, may work in a preschool classroom. It might even work in an adult classroom. Thanks.
It's quite all right. I'm glad you ventured off script because you gave me an opportunity to actually plug some of our programs, which I don't mind doing in this context, since one of our big questions was not only how do clubs benefit the students, the most important, the faculty, we like to think we matter, and of course the staff advisors that we have, anyone that's advising. Probably should have revised that title as well, now that I think of it. But lastly, the programs. So when the students are excited about what they're learning, whether it's through a peripheral involvement in a club, like say someone's in instructional design, but there's a lot of organizational behavior that goes into designing an instructional training program. They may be a part of the psychology club and just serendipitously, on the fly, learn something from a club member that they can bring back into their classroom, which enriches those online conversations improves the rigor and the excitement in the classroom, and therefore makes the program that much more meaningful for everyone participating. So there really is this sort of iterative cycle of support that's occurring. I don't know, Dr. Beach, Bill, you guys see that as well from your management club?
Oh, definitely. The business administration degree is a very broad base education program. So the club actually gives us an opportunity to share the more of the depth of the knowledge and experiences, whether it's from the women professionals in their field and what is it they have to contend with and the different age groups. And it just allows a much deeper depth of discussion that sometimes we just don't have an opportunity to do in the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what I'd like to say, Lisa, is that, this is just a great platform for learning. The purpose of education is learning. And when you talk about diversity, for example, when we started this a couple years ago, we had 60 members. And really all we did was made ourselves available to the people that were joining, did a quarterly meeting. We also made sure we were consistent with posting of articles and different articles that appealed to different professions. And that grew. Our membership grew in students, alumni, faculty, staff, associate business management professionals, all coming in and putting articles in themselves, as well as us posting articles. And so that was a lot of the engagement. Now, as we move forward, we're looking to take it up a level and to have bi-monthly meetings through Jamie and the officer team, and to appeal everyone, broad range, all inclusive. So I would agree with you. I think there's a natural consistent we are in terms of adding this value in this platform. I think that there's going to be increased student satisfaction, increased learning, and it's just a win-win-win for everyone. So that's the way I see it.
Thank you for that, everyone. Yeah, I mean, you made me feel like we should segue now to talk a little bit about what it takes to bring these communities together. For the IDA organization, Instructional Design at Ashford, one of our biggest challenges has been with the membership on LinkedIn of around 300 at any given time. How do we get everyone together? And we've discovered holding occasional guest speaking events and recording those and broadcasting them has resulted in quite a few hits on the videos. So they are being watched, but it is really a challenge for us. One of the things that appeals to an Ashford University student, of course, is that asynchronous, flexible model of anytime, anywhere learning, but trying to hold a group meeting can be difficult. And your club, Bill and Ron, has done an amazing job, and Jamie, under your leadership, with getting out information on a consistent level and basis that really benefits the interest of your club. And that's what it's about, is finding the interest and coming together around those. And in the vein of that, when I initially came on and was asked to, would you like to be the advisor for IDA? I thought, sure, had no idea what I was getting into and had way more questions than answers. So Ben and I quickly, Mr. Gothia and I quickly became very good friends, and the student organization advisor community was formed. And essentially anyone who advises a community, this can be a full-time staff member or faculty at Ashford, those are who are eligible currently to be advisors. And we oversee the clubs, and Ben oversees us, essentially. And Ben has been just amazing at working with us. Last year, we were sort of the inception and legitimization of this committee or community or consortium, cooperative, whatever you want to let the C stand for. This year has mostly been focused on revisiting the existing handbook and figuring out what improvements might need to be made. We're trying to keep it a living, breathing document that allows clubs to grow as the university continues to grow and meet the needs of the learners, the advisors, and maybe the programs too. As Sharad pointed out, Dr. D there, about the Anyone Can Code Club and how it is sort of a feeder for some of the now newer programs that we're offering. And so it really is this very symbiotic relationship between clubs and programs and students and their faculty. It's community at the end of the day. And so I'm really proud to be a part of this student organization advisories group, because it brings, for me, a level of support, much like I think the officers can bring for their club members. With all that said, let's see, I'm going to scan the chat. I don't think we've missed too many questions. You guys have been doing a great job of answering things. I'm going to go ahead and hand this off to Ben, who's going to do some screen sharing. And Ben, if you wouldn't mind taking us through how to access the resources. It looks like we have just under 5 minutes remaining in our time. And so if anyone would like to post questions in the chat, now is also a good time to make sure we cover those.
I'd be happy to do that. And thank you so much, Dr. J. I could not do any of what I do here at Ashford without the help of you and all the other faculty members that help advise our clubs. And of course, the students are shining right now. I'm so proudful, and it's just a good experience to be a part of this. So if you are a student at Ashford, or you want to see what we offer at the moment in terms of student clubs, we have a listing on the Ashford website. In order to access that, all you need to do is hover over Ashford Experience. You'll click on Student Support. Then you will scroll down until you see a picture of a bunch of adults having a good time that says Online Student Orgs. You'll click that link, and that'll take you to that list I was talking to you about. Once you see that, you'll see a list of clubs, and you can find a blurb about each club, the contact information for each advisor for the club, and then a link that will take you to the LinkedIn group page. Currently, our groups interact on the platform LinkedIn, so be sure you have an account. It's set up and ready to go as you select which groups you'd like to check out. If you think that you would benefit from having a club that is not on our current list, you can certainly request one by contacting me at studentorgs@Ashford University. My contact information can be found at the bottom. We may be moving that to the top in the near future. And also down here, you'll see all of our online student organization resources. This is where our handbook is located, which will be updated shortly, and all the other resources that you can check out. And Marjorie asked if there was a way that students can create new clubs, and yes, the student organization recognition application is one of the ways to go. Right now, just go ahead and contact me at studentorgs@ashford.edu, and we can get you going.
Thank you, Ben. Okay, I'm going to grab the screen back from you and hopefully be able to share this PowerPoint again. There we go. And yeah, so there is the email address. Kind of switch that up on you guys. We were going to show that slide first, but to reiterate, studentorgs@ashford.edu. Any questions anyone watching this recording or here in the room today has about student orgs, you'll be filling Ben's inbox, but I'm sure he'll be happy to field your questions. And also the website. Go to the student support section of the Ashford website to find information, and keep in mind that we are updating the handbook currently, but the current version is there, and you can get a pretty good feel for what clubs and organizations can do, including student activity funds, Logan, which are available on a quarterly basis for things like membership fees. There are some organizations that require, if you have a student chapter, there's a fee involved, and so Ashford's been very generous in working with us on those types of things. So we have about 3 minutes remaining. I'll go ahead and put up some email addresses for your main hosts today, myself, Mr. Gothia, and Bill Davis, and Dr. Ronald Beach. Thank you again. And if I don't get to say it, thank you again to our student presenters, Lynn, Lane, Jamie. Hats off. Thank you very much. You did an amazing job. So do we have any questions in the chat? I will actually put us back on, if you want to go to gallery view and see who's in the room here. Get our homey community feel.
Lisa, I'd just like to add just one thing. As you begin a club, never, ever, ever forget your purpose. Why you are doing what you do. And that's where it all starts. That's the impetus. When we did that, that was our thinking. What do we want to create? Why? Understand that why and start to build. And don't get frustrated if you're not getting the immediate results. Stay consistent. And just continue to look at your purpose. And just to share with you the purpose of our club, this is it. This is what guides us, our mission, to foster continuous learning in business management and other related fields. And we want to further learning and success by sharing ideas, advice, and information. And that's why we exist, for the students and the folks in the club. So just wanted to Send that message out there to anyone that's considering starting a club or continuing to develop yours. Don't get frustrated, stay consistent, set a goal, and you'll get there.
Follow your bliss, as Joseph Campbell reminded us all so many years ago. Very good advice, you're Dr. Davis, the School of Hard Knocks in Life to me, whether you want to be or not. I'm going to do that whenever I can. All right, thank you, everyone. We're 1 minute early, but I don't think there's any harm, Margie, in turning off our recording. We appreciate everyone who could attend today. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Lisa Johnson, Ben Gothia, Bill Davis, Ron Beach, Lane Hagerdorn, Jamie King, and Lynn Haines for your presentation, for all of you for joining in this session today. Enjoy the rest of TLC.
Yes.
And Destiney. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.